Hello. Welcome to another thrilling episode of PROG Review. Yeah, I think this is a PROG Review. Today we are talking about this one. Yes, this is live in Bratislava by Jean-Michel Jarre. What's notable here is special guest, that there Brian May from Queen. Yeah, you may have, I don't know if you're aware of this, last year, as part of the Starmus Festival, there was this Jean put this concert on called Bridge to the Future. This was on May the 12th 2024, and they do these things. The Starmus Festival is a thing they do. I think it's the seventh time it's run, and it's to do with, you know, astronomy and the future, technology, that kind of thing. A lot of like-minded people. I think Brian Eno's been at one of these. I think Brian May's done it before. But Jean-Michel Jarre was there, did a big gig, and Brian May was a guest. Here's a picture. Here they are, look. doing their thing. Well, on last Friday, September the 5th, they released Live in Bratislava to the public. I listened to the streamed version, but last year when it went out, I watched the live stream on Jean-Michel Jarre's YouTube channel. So I've done visual and audio, so that kind of qualifies me. So this is in Slovakia, on the banks of the Danube, in the city of Bratislava. They played in front of 100,000 people. Yeah. And it goes back to the if you're old like I am, some of us will remember, you know, Jean-Michel Jarre doing his gigs in Houston, in London and the Docklands. I stood outside in the rain with the missus and my friend Ian. Didn't have tickets, but we stood outside and watched and listened. It was like being there, and it was just as cold and wet. Or maybe I think he did Bastille Day in Paris. He's probably done that several times. But you know, Tokyo. He's done all manner of places. Old Jean-Michel Jarre, and this kind of harks back to those big, you know, multimedia gigs. As you can imagine, this is 1 hour 41 minutes. It's the unexpurgated version of it. You got the full dollop. He ain't holding back. But it's also available physically as a CD in two CD digipack edition. Digipack. There's a Blu-ray edition, which is probably the best one to get, or you can get the Ultimate Collector's Edition, which I think is probably about £80, where you get the CD, Blu-ray, and a 10-inch blue vinyl, which just has one track in it, I believe, and a deluxe 40-page coffee book. So yeah, but we did streaming and the visuals from last year. The reason I tuned in was because, well, Brian May was turning up, and also it was free. That's why I watched it last year. But it's what can you expect? It's the usual Jean-Michel Jarre thing. It's him doing the hits. He does a kind of a stripped down version of the hit, you know, Oxygen 4, which is different. You know, so it's all right, but it's a bit more kind of pulled back. And he goes through his back catalogue and does all the songs you'd expect him to do, you know, from Equinox, Industrial Revolution, from Revolutions, a couple from Rendezvous, some new pieces. You know, he covers all bases. But we also get Brian May coming out and playing guitar on a couple of bits on Rendezvous. He does the real. I think it's worth listening, or at least listening to one of the tracks or watching it. What I liked is when Brian May came on and they performed Dvorak's New World Symphony, you know, or the Hovis theme if you're a Brit. It was used in a series of adverts Didn't Ridley Scott direct the original Hovis advert where the boy's going up the hill? E-bike when I were a lad. That one. Do you remember? Well, it's like that, but with Brian May playing and no boy with a flat cap going uphill with his bicycle. He does Dvorak's New World Symphony on the guitar. And if you watch it, you can tell that Brian May is completely out of his comfort zone and he is struggling to hold it together. And that's good. It's someone who's, really battling not to mess it up. And you can actually see the stress is palpable on his face, and I like that because I guess I don't think there was enough rehearsal time, and you can really see like the bead of sweat running down Brian's face, and it's good. No, it's a good energy. It's a good I want to make it work energy to that. So it's well worth tuning in for that. And he does his Brighton Rock, ding 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 ding, multiple delay thing as well in it. So it's quite an interesting. It's quite an interesting set. It's not your usual Jean-Michel Jarre. It is and it isn't. If you strip the Brian May stuff out, it's your usual Jean-Michel Jarre concert. But then when you add the Brian May stuff in, it gives it a new aspect. So I think it's probably really. But the thing about this is, it's nice to listen to. It's pretty good. In terms of the recording, one thing I would say is I do think it sounds a little bit dull. It sounds a little bit dead, and there's an awful lot of crowd in there. The crowd seem really mixed forward, and not. In the old days, the crowd always seemed a little bit further back in the mix. They seem like they're really standing on stage with Mr. Jarre, and I think that stood out to me. But if you've not seen it, if you're not aware of it, I don't know if the live stream's still up, but go and check that out because I really do. Again, thing with Jarre, the albums are good fun, and the live in the old days, this would have been edited down to a 60-minute CD. You'd have had one CD and it had been live in Bratislava, and they'd have condensed it, and it would have been, But now they give you it all, and I think sometimes less is more. I think sometimes less is more because again you are familiar with some of these tracks, and some of the less familiar tracks might not necessarily hit or work. And I think when music used to be more curated, I'm of the mind that sometimes it's nice to edit these things down. I'm not like a purist. I think there's a place for that. Sometimes there is a place for that. But I think sometimes it's nice to just get more definition. So it's a bit sprawling, a bit like this review, but do check out the actual visuals because I think when you hear this, half of the experience is watching the visuals, watching Jarre's performance when he does the laser harp and does the thing, and does all the there's all the background visuals going on, and the everything's going off. You're kind of missing that because Jarre is a visual performer. I think we can all agree on that. So I think it's probably best for you to go and check out that initial live stream if it's still out there. If not, definitely try and watch the Blu-ray just for Brian May doing his thing, because you'll see him in a different light. And his take on, both of theirs take on the New World Symphony is, I think it's great. It's a shame there wasn't more like that. It's a shame in fact, it's a shame that it wasn't, there was more Brian May in it. If he'd have been doing more of the lead lines, I think it could have been a much more interesting set. We get a hint of some really interesting stuff there, but he's just a guest. I want more. I always want more. And when they give me more, I say, can I have less? Because I'm a contradictory bugger. But for those of you who might not be aware, Jean-Michel Jarre live in Bratislava is now available. You can get it in 3 formats: CD, Blu-ray, and a big box set with all of it in. Or you can stream it, which I've done. And I don't know, maybe YouTube has still got it up there. I'm going to have a look now. I should have done this before I came on, but was it Jean-Michel Jarre? I guess it'd be Bratislava. Here we go. Yep, you can watch the whole blooming thing. You can watch the whole blooming thing on Jean-Michel Jarre's channel. Go and watch it. It's good stuff. Alright? Go and watch it there. Or you could buy it if you want. But you could watch it for free. List it for free if you want. Oh, it's hard being a music fan these days, isn't it? Anyway, thank you for watching. I've witted on about Jean-Michel Jarre's live in Bratislava with guest star Brian May. And I think it's kind of interesting, you know, especially when you watch it. You might have missed it last year. It's still there. But give it a look. And it's good to see. Well, you can see, look, here's another. Oh, I've got them pulled up the video. Oh, don't do that, Darren, because don't do that. You're going to get a copyright claim. I won't be clever. I was going to pull up the video and show a bit in window, but it's not going to be good, is it? Instead, I think I can get away with. I think I can get away with a still image. There you go. There's a still image for you. Anyway, thank you for watching. That was PROG review. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is PROG on.